how can you tell if you are singing in a mixed voice? Okay, excuse me. This is a really great question, but it's a complex question because it requires a lot of self-awareness. And for those of you who are new to this technique, the cold notes of the mix is that it's a blend of resonance. We're looking for a blend of chest, head, and pharyngeal resonance that allows us to achieve a seamless tone throughout our range, specifically as we go through that transition spot where the voice likes to crack and flip on us around a D, E flat, E for guys, A, B flat, B for girls, where pretty much every contemporary worship song goes at some point in the chorus or bridge. And when we're singing in a mix, we have the fullness and depth of chest voice with the freedom and ease of head voice. So it's not waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, right? It's not just pushed up chest voice. That might sound, I guess it sounds deep and full, but it's not free and released at all. I'm pushing up, so it's not a mix. A mix is also not waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, right? That's just my head voice. That feels great. It feels easy and released, but it doesn't sound deep and full at all, right? A mix is both of those things. So I'm looking for that mix, that blend of my chest voice, mouth resonance, pharyngeal, and head voice. Wow, 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 waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness, my God, that is who you are. It's both. It sounds deep and full, and it's free and released, right? Excuse me. So that's what we're aiming for in contemporary worship, a rich, full tone that is also free and released. And there's not one sound that the mix is. The mix sounds different for every singer. I get into this a lot in the Master Your Voice course, how it's unique for all of us. And that's totally normal and how it should be. We all have unique bodies and resonant cavities, as in literally the shape of my nose, the shape of my face, and the inside of my face is different than yours. And thus, we all have a unique sound, a unique tone when we sing. So we have to understand that uniqueness, first of all, and why that makes this question of how can I tell if I'm singing in a mixed voice somewhat complex, because there's not an exact sound that we're aiming for. But there are some things that we can look for and listen for that are signs we are accessing or not accessing our mixed voice. So I want to talk about that for a little bit. Hey, to those of you who are popping on, joining me today, talking about our mixed voice, how we can know if we are accessing that or not. So we want to ask ourselves a couple questions, okay? 3 questions, actually. Number 1, does it sound deep? Does it sound rich and full, particularly in the low to mid range? So if I'm singing, how great the chasm that lay between us, how high the mountain I could not climb, right? If I come out of that, you hear my speaking voice and you hear that my singing voice, how great the chasm that lay between us. Hear how you can hear that richness, that fullness, right? And even up a little bit higher, what a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is, the name of Jesus, right? You can hear that depth, that richness. And if you can hear that fullness in the tone, that's a good sign that there is chest voice engaged, okay? Chest voice engaged in your tone, and that is really important to the mix, okay? So number 1, does it sound deep? Number 2, do I hear a cry sound in the voice, particularly as I get higher. So, hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. What a powerful name it is. What a powerful, hear that cry. Oh, what a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. If you can hear that cry sound in your tone, that's a good sign that there is pharyngeal and head voice engaged in your tone, that higher resonance in the face. And that pharyngeal, that nasality, is an essential component to the mixed voice. We can't get far without it, which is why we need the nay, 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 wow, 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 wow. Sorry about that wrong note. We need those exercises in our vocal workout routine because they are directly applicable to our songs, right? Wow, wow, wow. Hear that cry? Wow, 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 hallelujah. Wow, 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 praise the one who set me free. Nay, 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 what a powerful name it is. What a powerful name it is. So applicable to our mixed voice, okay? So, hey Shannon, she's saying my son laughs at me when I'm warming up, but man, it makes a world of difference. Yes, absolutely makes a huge difference when we warm up with all these exercises, totally. Okay, so the questions we're asking to know if we're accessing our mix, okay? Number 1, does it sound deep? Number 2, do I hear a cry sound in my voice? And the third question we need to ask is, does it feel free and released? Okay, and this is not so much about the sound of it as it is about the feel of it in your throat, right? Because if I'm singing in a mix, I shouldn't feel excess tension in my throat. I shouldn't feel this feeling of like I'm holding on for dear life as I go up into my higher range, right? Oh, hallelujah, praise the one. Don't want to feel that, okay? I want to feel hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. If your voice feels free, that's a good sign that you're not just pushing up chest voice, okay? So if you're aiming for a contemporary sounding mixed voice, which most of us here at the Worship Vocalist are, you want to be able to answer yes to all 3 of these questions. Does it sound deep? Do I hear a cry sound? And does it feel free? We need all 3 of these things. If the answer to number 1 is no, it doesn't sound deep, rich, and full, that means you're probably singing in primarily your head voice, okay? Not engaging enough chest voice. How great the chasm that lay between us. Hear how it's kind of sounds like it's bottoming out. Doesn't sound deep. How great the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain gets better as I go up. I could not climb in desperation. And also, if I come out of that tone into my speaking voice, you can hear that doesn't sound like my speaking voice, right? Okay, so if it doesn't sound deep, rich, and full, you're probably singing in primarily your head voice, not a mix. If the answer to number 2 is no, you don't hear a cry sound as you go higher in your range, then you're probably not singing in a mix. You're probably singing in either a pushed up chest voice or a straight head voice, okay? So, pushed up chest voice, what a powerful name! There ain't no cry in that. What a powerful name it is! Right, that's just pushed up chest voice or straight head voice. What a powerful name it is! What a powerful name it is! The name of Jesus Christ, my King. Very different sound than the chest voice, but listen, notice how we don't hear that cry sound. What we want to hear is, wow, What a powerful name it is. Ah, what a powerful name it is. The name of Jesus Christ, my King. That's my mix because I'm engaging the pharyngeal to join my head and chest voice, okay? Now I'm flying through some of this stuff, but I want to get to some of the other questions too. Okay, if the answer to number 3 is no, it doesn't feel free and released, that means you're probably pushing up your chest voice and not mixing enough pharyngeal and head voice with your chest voice, okay? So we've already demonstrated this many times. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Feels terrible. If it feels terrible, you know, I'm not singing in a mix, right? Okay, so we're looking for all 3, okay? Depth in the sound, cry component, and it needs to feel free, not tense and strained all the time, okay? So I'm gonna sing a couple examples. I want you to really try to listen for these three components, okay? Depth, cry, and well, you'll just have to trust me that it feels free and released, okay? It should sound free and released, but you'll just have to trust me that it does. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, hear that depth and cry at the same time. Holy, there is no one like you. And it's literally, if you do a cry sound, that's what we hear in the mix. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Again, with Living Hope, both in the low range and the high range. How great the chasm that lay between us. How high the mountain I could not climb. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Okay? Depth, I know I'm saying it lots of times, but I want you to really get this. Depth, cry, and free. Okay? And sometimes to be able to access your mixed voice means changing the key to something that's better for you. I'm a huge fan of singing in whatever key is best for your voice. Too many people try to sing the song in the original key that it was recorded in, and it's like wearing clothes that don't fit on stage. It's not smart. Your congregation, I promise you, your congregation doesn't care if you're singing in the original key. They just want you to lead them confidently, right? So if your mixed voice sits most comfortably in the low mid-range, that's where you should sing. Don't worry about singing in the original key. Work towards being more comfortable in the higher notes in the future, but do what's best for today in the meantime. Okay, this is really important for us as worship leaders, that we choose confidence over, I don't know what it is, pride or maybe shame, I guess, in feeling like if we can't sing in the original key, it's somehow worse. It's not. It's better for you to sing where your voice sounds best, okay? I just want to point out one other, perhaps maybe slightly more advanced of seeing if you're in a mix or not. But something you can try is to pick a note kind of in your mid-range. It doesn't really matter exactly what note it is, but you should be able to find 3 different tonal qualities on that note, okay? Straight chest voice, basically put all the resonance in the mouth. If you put your hand here, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Now, I don't like that. That's not how I want to sing, but that's one tonal quality. Waymaker, miracle worker. Okay, same note. Now put all that resonance above your hand. in your head cavity, waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Very different than the chest voice. And then the third quality is your mix, where you're going to bring in the pharyngeal, wah, 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 waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper. Okay, 3 different tonal qualities. And that third one, right? That's the pharyngeal resonator. That's marrying the best of both worlds of those 2 other tonal qualities, marrying the best of chest and head. And if you can find those 3 different qualities, then you're well on your way to being able to discern whether you're in a mix or not in whatever song you're singing, right? And if in doubt, ask someone who knows. This is a main reason why I have the Analyze My Voice option on the Worship Vocalist site, so that you can send in a recording of yourself singing a song and get my feedback. So often singers don't realize that they're only singing in their chest voice or only singing in their head voice, because it's challenging to be objective about your own voice, especially if you're new to these kinds of techniques, or if you've sung a certain way for many, many years. Then the muscle memory is so ingrained, you're so used to that sound in your voice that you don't really question it, right? But it is important to dig into these things and find out what our habits, what our tendencies are, and where we can improve. When I when I first started singing and worship leading regularly, I had no idea about all this stuff. I just knew that my voice got tired all the time and I couldn't sing the high notes. And it's because I hadn't learned to sing in a mix. I was just pushing up my chest voice all the time. And I had a friend on the worship team years ago, and she had the opposite issue. She couldn't hit the low notes in the songs, and it was because she was singing all in her head voice all the time. So bottom line, do some detective work yourself. Ask yourself those questions that I laid out earlier. Record your voice, listen back. That's the best way to try to be objective about your own voice, and get some help. Ask a coach, ask someone who's trained in these mixed voice techniques. Maybe there's somebody on your worship team that you can ask if you are unsure.